Hello and welcome to the Faith Building Podcast, episode 23, with your amazing hosts, Vladi, Kuna, and
Gräter.
And as always, we're extremely happy and joyful and excited to be here with you. Today, we have something special because Vladi just came back from Esther Hicks or Abraham Hicks, depending on what you know of the work of Esther and Abraham Hicks. And she wrote some beautiful things down. So I hand it right over to Vladi. Share with us what was your main choice from all your notes that you want to share with us today.
I'm going to share this, which I always come as a high vibrational being from the Esther's events. But she said, focus on fun and joy in the journey. And I know you guys heard us about saying this, but I'm going to read this. It's like she was describing how we should focus on what's in, not what's here, but everything you're becoming. So find joy, like find easy existing matches for you in becoming that person who you desire to be. So it's not, let's say you desire to have a new home or find a soulmate or maybe find a beautiful job. You might not be happy in the current job, or you would love to get a new car or get travel around the world. Whatever it is, focus every day on fun and expansion, in searching, in becoming this person and figuring out new ways of how you could make this happen. She really allowed us to see the focusing on the journey, on finding joy in expanding it. She even said this, everything flows through me. I want to be part of this expansion and I get to decide where this goes, which really closely talks about what we always say to you. Where are you going? Are you having fun? If you're not having fun, if you don't like your job, don't like where you're heading, don't like what you're doing, don't do it. Just imagine and start in your imagination. But have fun even in your imagination. Are you actually allowing yourself to feel good every day? And if you focus on good and in everything and everybody, then you will have fun. Now, we are very huge advocates, and I know we're not the first one who's saying this, but we can tell you what a remarkable results people have when they do this. Ditch the news for 30 days. Don't read your phone, don't read your newspapers, don't go anywhere, don't read anything, anywhere for 30 days. And do not worry, your life will be just fine.
And even better.
Yeah, go, Norman, just feel it in. It's so true.
Yeah, if you can make it for 30 days, you can make it for the rest of your life. I spoke to someone today after I gave a keynote. And I told him for about, 12 years, I stopped watching and listening and reading the news, and he was astonished. He said, one speaker before me, he asked a couple of questions like, who heard of this regulation and who heard of that regulation? I did not put my arm out. I have no freaking clue what they were talking about. At the end of the day, it made no difference because I have the most beautiful life ever. And I'm not interested in any specific regulations that they changed that have no effect on my life. And the thing, as he looked quite astonished, I said, look, most people just want to know. It's not that they want to know to help, because that's a different thing. If you want to help something, if you want to help in a war zone or with lonely kids or with starving animals or whatever it might be, great. Inform yourself, go and help in whatever way possible, and then draw yourself back and focus again on what Vladi shared, being just joyful, how I would call it, fascinated, have as much fun as possible, because the energy you put out will eventually come back to you. So if you put suffering out, if you put lack out, if you put I'm depressed out, how can you help the world if you cannot even help yourself? And it's just, you have 7 highways for negative informations and 1 for positive in your mind. And all the news stations just know that how the human brain works. And that's why they feed us with so much negative stuff, because we tend to buy it as we have 7 to 1. So it's not that they're bad. So going back to what Vladi just shared, can you have more fun in your life? How do you have fun, Vladi? You just mentioned a story about a DJ, and I think that fits quite well into our discussion right now.
Yeah, I will say that story. But you know, as Norman was talking, do you know what I thought, guys? I could hear almost how many people say to me, I don't have time to have fun. Kids don't think that way. And that's why they're so creative and they have these ideas and everything. We almost forget to be playful. We forgot to have fun. Or I'm going to say to you how you can do and start having a fun. Schedule it. Just as much as you have to schedule your self-care, your readings, schedule the having a fun. Say to yourself, 3 times this week, I will schedule an hour for myself and I will just go and have fun. And then obviously, what is that thing you can do to have fun? A beautiful story that was shared with us this weekend was a guy who had a passion for music and DJing, and you know, he was in his zone, and it's when we call it alignment, you know, like when you feel like, I think that in the zone is really actually a great description. And he said, well, he was growing up and his parents and surroundings said to him, oh, that's not a great job to have because, you know, all the artists are starving artists. And these beliefs we adopt from childhood, from schools and parents and environment. There's nothing wrong with them. You know, they did the best they could to teach us what they had, but still, it's not necessarily going to help us to achieve our goal and have fun. So he became a successful in the business. And he said, he was telling the story, this guy, he said, the best time I have is when I DJ. So I started a couple of years ago. I do believe he said a couple of years ago. And she asked him, like, who do you play for? And he said, for myself. Like, I'm in the zone. I can see the vibrations moving and I can actually see the colors of the auras around. And I am just totally in my zone. So we were talking about it. What rings your bells? What is that thing you're so passionate about that it really just puts you in that amazing vibration? But how often we say, well, I don't have time to do this, or I'm too old to do this, or it doesn't fit into my schedule. Well, make it fit into your schedule. Are you in control of your calendar, or is your calendar in control of you? Because the truth is that you can schedule fun. But start with the small chunks, you know, like, because we want all to quantumly, but if you do put it into your schedule, you will make it happen. So this guy actually said, when I'm in my zone doing the DJing, I actually noticed that all my commercial deals and his business and love life, everything elevates. Because you become the attractor to what is your point of attraction when you're in that zone. So how could you do something? And another beautiful story they were talking about was actually a painting. So she had loads of things to go through her business and in her new venture. And she said she was getting a little bit stressed and it wasn't working out the way she desired. So her husband said to her, just paint. And she said, I don't have time to paint now. I have all these things on my plate, you know, like you don't understand. But then she actually sat down, she was painting, she was claying, she was modeling, she was really in her zone. And over half of the stuff sorted itself. So she never had to attend them. And then you become so creative and so aligned to yourself, being with your inner values and inner being, that you actually come up with the solution, because the solution is inside you anyway. But unless you're putting yourself in a zone of having fun, I like adventures. So to answer Norman's question, I love hiking. I love climbing. I pretty much find fun in most of the things I do. If I don't enjoy things, unless I have to, I really don't do them. So I've actually trained myself not to spend time with things that actually don't align with my soul. You know, like, I know that when I was younger, it was told, like, you have to do this and you have to, and sometimes we have the bucket list, you know, of things we want to do. Now I put things on the bucket list that have really allowed my soul. So my fun is actually, I love driving. I love fast driving. Actually, I have fun with friends. I think I have most fun with special people around me, because I mean, we can laugh and talk, and I love traveling. I have fun with kids, and sometimes I don't, like it's really great to just find something. When we're camping, I find the fun things. I run on the beach in the morning at 5 and I have fun watching waves. But like I need to really align myself first to step into these things and really enjoy them. I actually used to paint, so I was actually entertaining the idea I should actually bring the pen brushes out and have fun painting, but really feel what is it I could do today and have fun. Norman, what is your way of having fun?
Talking about the material we talk about here all the time. We just spoke about before we pressed record, where I said I was speaking to a gentleman yesterday and I gave him 1,000,000,000,000 ideas. And if Anke would have sat next to me, she might have said, "Why are you giving this away for free? He can buy some coaching with you." It's true. Again, it comes back to the point, if I'm so full of fun and joy and I realize my person on the other side is willing to change, I'm happily and freely sharing ideas. And it has nothing to do what he or she is doing with it. The thing is, how does it make me feel? And what Vladi shared earlier from Esther, find joy in the journey. In our pre-talk that we had today, Vladi and myself, we came up with the idea, how about, as we all know, it's about the journey and the person you become. Because imagine you would be born with all the riches on this planet and in this world, and you could have the biggest car, the biggest house, the biggest everything. Wouldn't you get bored after half a year? Because you could have the maximum out of everything, the best food, the best clothes, and it might be funny for the moment. But after half a year, there would nothing to develop yourself in. It would just be another car and another house, and it would be a little bit bigger, a little better, but it would not really make you happy. Rather than having your career, you start with a couple €100, pounds or dollars, and you work yourself up and your way up. What Vladi shared earlier with her old job. And you make the first career step, and then you make the second, and you buy a newer car and a bigger apartment and something more beautiful to wear. How about we find joy really in the journey of becoming the person we actually want to be? If you see yourself at the end of your life as this one person that has it all, there was step by step by step by step needed to become this person. If you would win the lottery, I don't know, in Germany I think it's 120 million this weekend. 120 million euros. If you were broke all your life and you would make 120 million overnight, first of all, you don't have the right friends that you can really trust in regard to money, because if you would have them, you probably would have money. Second, you would have no clue how to invest or not to invest. You would have no idea how much you should spend or put aside for, I don't know, the tax or something else. You would just basically lose everything in an instant again, because you never got trained with money step by step. The same with love and relationships. Think about your first relationship. If it was like mine, it was kind of a mess. And you know, the first kissing, and you thought, am I doing it different? And this tongue thing, and it was quite awkward. And now a couple days later, or a couple years later, basically, you're a trained professional and you still don't know it all. Can you find joy in climbing your ladder or your staircase towards your goal? You set the vision, you set the goal, and then just find joy and fun in becoming more and more and more the person you want to be. And I think this is where quantum leaps come in. The quantum leaps come at one point, and I'm just being reminded that one of my mentors, very early mentors, German guy, said, if you know all this material, you will be so successful. And for 3 or 4 years, I was wondering, and I thought, when is it going to happen? I spent so much money, I read so many books, I invested so much time in podcasts and reading and talking and doing all those mentorship stuff. And sometime after 4 years, it was like, everything broke loose, and from one day to the other, everything made sense. I made money with that. I attracted clients, but it needed to be pushing me over the edge with some certain knowledge. And this is what I took home from the keynote that I gave today, because there were other great speakers. And one advice from a very famous German referee for soccer games, he said, know your, and I call it different, know your shit. If you want to be amongst the best or the greatest or the funniest or whatever is, know your shit. And this shit does not come by itself. You have to learn it. You have to try it. You have to go back. You have to go forth. You have to try it out. You will realize what works and what does not work. Can you find joy because you set the goal? So can you enjoy your way towards your goal? Because if your way is horrible, maybe the goal is wrong. Because don't think about and imagine that when you achieve the goal, you will be fulfilled and happy for the next 50 years. No, for the next week, maybe for the next 2 weeks. But the way towards your goal is so much longer that it would be a smart idea to think about if you could have more fun and joy on the way, and then just take, the goal that you successfully will achieve at one point, just as a little bonus. I think that's a great way to do that.
Yeah, I love that, Norman. I was going to read this. The words do not create, they amplify how you feel. So how many times we keep saying ourselves something, and it's the feeling, it's the joy you feel inside. So it's the vibration of your cells. And you have over 70 billion cells in your body. And if they are joyful, they are vibrating high energy. So, joy is one of the highest frequencies you can ever get to. And since I mentioned the word frequency, it's like a radio. Every thought has a frequency. It's the emotion that attracts back to you what you would love or what you don't love. So saying, like I'm happy and I'm fine and I have all I need and stuff, and using the words instead of feeling through them. And I'll give you an example, actually. This is actually something that truly happened. Was when I had my parents over here in the UK, they can't speak really well English. So, my mom could understand that somebody was getting really upset. And the thing is, I've realized how there was two ladies talking, and I think one was Italian. Well, I couldn't understand one word, but you could feel that she was really upset about something. Now, I thought how my mom sometimes laugh about things when I keep telling kids what they've said. And why am I saying this? Is because the words don't matter if you don't understand. Vibrational frequency, you can pick on people. You can say that they upset. So if Norman was telling me something really upsetting in German and I wouldn't understand, now I can feel that he's cross and I can see he's mad, but I don't take it personally. And that's the difference. I'm not getting emotionally involved with what that person is saying because I have no idea what they're saying. And while I understand that the energy is being crossed and they upset and they're really mad about something, I can't take any of that personally because I am not allowing my ego to step in and say, well, I'm not like that and I'm not doing this. And why would they say that? Because that is what we do. We actually pick on the words and take them personally, while the words are not even have as much power, because sometimes you may say something rude, but you don't mean it. You just push it, but you can feel. But somebody says beautiful words. They come out there to the world and they're speaking to the world, and who they really are behind the scenes is completely different person. So, where is the words energy of having fun? If you have fun, people will pick on your energy because they know you love it. You can see these people and in the mountains, they love mountains. You can see them on the beach. They love beach. You really can feel the energy of the people, and you can feel the vibration because they really are having fun. And, think about, what did you used to love as a kid? Like for me, I remember as I grew up and as I became more and more successful, we have almost certain society puts a certain expectations on you. So you kind of feel like you have to fit that fun and joy description of yours into somebody else's definition. So because you become more successful, now you have to present yourself differently. I can go to 5-star hotel, luxury hotel, and have fun. I can equally take my kids to camping and stay in a camp, having the simplest possible week holiday. And I'm still finding fun in that. So it's like, don't allow the inner joy and fun to be taken by what other people fits in their definition. Now you're successful, you have to do this, because that consists fun into those levels. We almost label ourselves in the groups. You can have fun by going on the bike. Oh, I don't do that anymore. I need to go to a 5-star spa. I find fun driving up 12 hours and hiking the mountains. And some of my friends go, you crazy? Can we go to spa? It doesn't matter what is fun for you, because we're so unique and individual. What I like doesn't mean that you find fun in it. You should do things that really fire up your soul. And that's the message I want to get across to you guys. What fires up your soul? What do you feel you're in your zone? And be selfish enough to care for how you feel. Like really be, I now would replace selfish by self-love, because that is really what selfishness is. It's a self-love in the zone, but care how you feel. Well, so many times we don't feel good about certain things, or we don't feel good about doing that, or we feel great about doing something. It's both ways actually. But then I don't want to look bad in front of my friends because I can't do that anymore. Or the other way around. Oh, I can't afford to do it. You can find fun in anything you do if you so choose. And it's so simple. Go into yourself, deep down into you, and say, what makes me happy? Well, even if you want to journal on this for a few days and say, what actually fun means to me these days? Because what fun meant to you when you were a kid is probably different than when you were a teenager. We grow and evolve. So we should evolve with ourselves, and like Norman said, you're becoming a higher version of yourself. You're becoming that new, better version of yourself, or divorce. It's what you choose. You're either going forward or backwards. There is no stuck in the middle. You're either growing and creating, or you're disintegrating. So what does fun mean to me today? And that's what I invite all of you, before I hand it for a final words to Norman. But what does fun mean to me? Like, specify it. Feel what are the things that really fire up your soul, regardless of what other people around you think. But what is that thing you've been longing to do for a long time and you haven't for some reason? Maybe you're saying you're too busy, or you never really find. Schedule it. Go 3 months forward or 2 months forward, or next week. I mean, obviously, but every month you should say, I will do one super fun thing every month. And then once a week, I will find an hour and schedule it. And then pick 2 hours. You will realize that when you do this, you will actually blend the rest of the calendar into much better way. And you will be more efficient, actually, and more productive. Norman, final thoughts.
I think that people that delay the fun are usually people that want to have it perfect, because they say, oh, I'm unhappy until it's perfect. The question is, when will it ever be perfect? So the more perfectionist you are, the more you want to have it set in stone and as beautiful as possible. There's nothing wrong with that. The question is, do you still enjoy the process getting there, or is everything like the process itself just a burden because it's not perfect yet? And I'm just reminded by what the soccer referee shared earlier in his keynote. He mentioned that he was called one of the worst soccer referees of the year. And he said he really felt hurt by that, if this is written in some soccer newspaper and if fans call you like that. And he realized that the problem is not on the outside. It's not the news reporters. It's not the fans. It's not the players. It's how he behaved towards them. And he said whenever he gave out penalties, whenever he gave red cards or yellow cards, and the players came afterwards and asked him, so why did you give me the yellow card? He felt this is a personal assault. So he reacted totally in an egoistic way and yelled at them and did not give them right answers, until he changed that and realized that his ego was in the way, that he could have had so much more fun just by putting on blue glasses, in my case, a different perspective. And he changed that, and I really loved the sentence when he said, When they come now after a game and ask me the same questions, I see them as help seekers. They are seeking for help because they did not understand. And if somebody seeks help, I'm happy to help. But I don't see it any longer as a personal assault towards myself, because it was just my ego that wanted to have it perfect. And if I make a decision, I don't want anyone to question it. Done. And again, at the end of the day, you will not make all the people happy. You will not make it perfect. You will never ever get it done. We spoke about that before. It's also a Esther Hicks concept. If you close one loop, if you finished lunch, then another loop opens. And another loop could be now you want to have a coffee. Now you close the loop in having and drinking a coffee, then opens another loop where you says, piece of sweet, piece of chocolate, piece of ice cream, and you open a new loop, you close the loop, then probably coffee and cake is coming in the afternoon time or British tea time. Then comes dinner, then comes the midnight snack, then comes breakfast. You will never ever get it done, because the moment you close a desire, you close a loop, another one is being opened up. So why rushing? Why want to have it perfect? Because you will never ever get it done. Why not just enjoy the way? And Vladi gave you so many great ideas. Put it in your daily diary. Take time to have fun. Write in big letters, F-U-N. And even if it's just for 1 minute, and you do this every hour, then you have a couple hours more fun. Probably not a couple hours if you just do it for a minute, but you get the idea. If you don't put it in a diary, all the things from your daily business will come in the way of you having fun. And I see so many people on cruises that say, yes, let's have fun when we are old and when we are retired and when we have the money. And as I
So
can
true.
see on every trip, this just does not work with so many, because if you practice for 65 years to be in a bad mood, to delay fun, to save money for some future thing, you will not wake up after 65 years and do it the total opposite. So start now while you still have the chance. Put more fun in your diary. Enjoy your life a little bit more. Do more of your DJing, of whatever you like, hiking, what Vladi likes, or camping, or doing something with the kids, no matter what. Have fun in doing that. And we know that you can do that. It's just a matter of will and a matter of decision. And we know you're brave, you're bold, just do it. And that's why we cut it short right here, right now, to give you some time to have fun. So whatever you do right now, just make it fun. And then we listen and see you again for episode 24 next week. All the best. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.